What is up, my loves? It's your girl Diamond. I'm back with my own new review of Love and Marriage Huntsville. We are back, okay? You had Dr. Francis voice overing the antics gonna happen the remainder of this season. I'm like, what is this? Interesting take on things. So it picked the way it left off last season with Martell bringing the kids surprise Melody at her event, and it is awkward because he says that whenever he's around Melody, she pushes his buttons. Boys the other way around. Stop lying. But he just trying to stop while he's ahead, enjoy this time, giving her congratulations and move on. But I know for a fact about how beautiful she was sitting in that chair with her makeup and body. He's kicking himself right now. Completely kicking himself. So she gets changed. She's back on stage. Her mom thought it was nice that he did bring the kids along, but of course, it's still tension. The divorce affected everybody, especially Miss Vanessa, because she did look at Martell as her own child. But we just gotta keep on with a brave face. He wants to get along for the sake of the children, and it's nice to see the kids look at their mother follow her dreams. I bet it is. So the retreat. This is the retreat that Tisha planned with Dr. Francis to bring the couples along. And Maurice and Kimmy were the first to arrive. Maurice thinks that his marriage is totally fine. It's perfect, okay? He doesn't need to learn nothing, understand nothing, but he does want to absorb all the information to tell other couples of what they need to do. Maurice, go to hell. Tiffany and Lewis arrives, and she's hoping that Dr. Francis can change Lewis's mind about having a baby. But while they're waiting for the other couple, Kimmy calls them over the phone and want to know where they at. Tisha said it was a problem with the nanny, and Marceau said it was traffic. And Kitty mentioned Dr. Francis is here, and that made Marceau feel like, oh shit, he's here. So he makes a bunch of excuses as to why they can't make it. They're too busy. I gotta worry about this business. Everybody was like, we all got businesses too, but we carved out enough time to be here. So in the confessional, Marceau's going back and forth, acting like he's not going to do it, but he's going to do it. How Dr. Francis would get into his head about how he could be a better man, a better husband, but there is no way that there's somebody who could make me be more than what I am. I'm like, Marceau, stop. Stop, okay? That's not cute. How you do not want to learn how to be more of a better husband and father when you are clearly not a good husband and father, okay? We're not about to deal with this again. Like how you left your wife and kids behind to go to Africa by yourself. Still not letting that go. It is awkward because Tisha did not tell Marceau. She only told him that it's a couples retreat in Nashville. That's all she said. Didn't say who was hosting. Didn't say what's it for. Didn't say nothing. So Dr. Francis starts off by explaining what's the purpose of them being here. I'm not here to fix you. I'm here to navigate on how you can move forward in your marriage. Tiffany was looking at her phone. She was expecting a work call. Lewis knew about the work call, so she walked out. Kimmy want to chime in and say that everybody had businesses, everybody had things to work on, but they carved out some time to be here. And Tiffany needs to do better. I said, Kimmy, no, because no, you have no room to talk. You don't. Maurice has no room to talk at all because he just now realized that putting work before your marriage is not good. And since I'm fixed, I cannot say it's not good to place your work in the space of your partner. You can't do that. I said, Maurice, shut up. You're been realizing that, but you didn't want to do it. You wanted Kimmy to know how you operate, and you wanted her to get with the program. But when you did not like how it made you look, then you want to say you get it now. Good night, Maurice. So since it was obvious that she walked out because Dr. Francis had a confessional, and he talks about you made a commitment to being here, and when you found out about this, you shouldn't let anything distract you, okay? And she did not even ask Dr. Francis if she can get up and walk to take this phone call. That made him feel away. And also hearing the excuses from Marceau over the phone, which means that it's not important to them as well. So he's mad that Tiffany did not ask him to leave and take a phone call. He doesn't believe that Tiffany is here to fight for her marriage or fight to fix it. And the excuses that he heard Marceau over the phone that he doesn't want to be here, that's a problem. And he said, Lewis, you can let her know that. Because he said, listen, I can let her know that, but I'm here. Let her know how you feel. I'm right here. I'm present. So he goes into the room and find her answering a few work emails, and he lets her know you in trouble, okay? Because we're supposed to be here for a commitment, and you answering a phone call does not show that you're here. So that's going to be addressed when we go back outside. So when Tisha and Marceau finally arrives, Dr. Francis noticed that she wasn't happy. While they did pull in, they did receive news that one of Tisha's best friends recently passed away. And looking at life as being so short, how some of this can just suddenly happen. And he looks at this as being a distraction was needed. It'll give them a chance to make the relationship stronger. They could be there for one another. And you never know how somebody could be just taken from you. You just never know. So, Martell, it is the last day of school. He's taking his mom along for the ride so he can see the babies. And he tells her he brought the kids along to see Mel at the grand opening. It was his week. He wanted to use that week to support their mother. It was nice seeing her let her guard down a little bit. And Miss Marlene just wants Mel to let it go, which I don't like. Let it go and just let love in. So she's still defending, Martell's actions. And basically, talking about why did it happen the way it happened, because what did I write? Oh, right, because, Melody still feels way towards Martell and Marlene because of what they talked about Miss Van. Because last season, when Martell was over at the house to pick up the kids, Miss Van made a comment that, I can't believe we're here. I can't believe it's gotten to this point. Martell got slick at the mouth. Miss Vanessa gave her ass to kiss. And he spinned it as if Miss Van came at him wrong. And she made a comment that she shouldn't be involved. It should be between them. Go sit down somewhere. So she's doing the classic mama defense, defending her son's actions because he made mistakes and he's making up for it. That don't mean that you got to still throw it in his face. I'm like, girl, Miss Marlene, goodbye. And that's how you shouldn't treat them differently because that's their daddy. Listen, it's because of their daddy that their family is not together anymore, Miss Marlene. She's still trying to keep this man at arm's length because of his antics. His antics. If you see the antics that he's doing right now, you see why Melody is at a distance of keeping her guard up. So right now, having a conversation with Melody, Miss Marlene is open to it. She loves her. She wants nothing but the best of her. But, it's going to be the point where they both going to have to, love each other from afar. But, girl, I can't defend Miss Marlene. You just doing a classic mama mode. Like, my son did wrong, but we can't always make him feel like the bad guy. But he is, Miss Marlene. Miss Marlene. I'm done with you. So the retreat. They're starting off with the retreat, but Dr. Francis is not going to address Tisha and Marceau's tardiness because of a personal loss, but he does want to address Tiffany's decision to answer a phone call. And over the next couple of days, don't get comfortable, Tisha and Marceau. Y'all will be next. So he's talking about how commitment and honesty, being vulnerable, is how you guys should come into the situation, not play a game. So he instantly calls out Tiffany when she went and took a business phone call, left Lewis by himself. I was like, Dr. Francis, I like you. I really do. You're very, very inspirational. You have a lot of wisdom. But why did you do that? I have a problem. I'm sorry. I'm like, you didn't even do anything. You just barely gave out a general statement as to what this treat is for. We were waiting for the other couples to get things started. So you cannot say that she is not here for the retreat if you guys haven't done nothing. Did she leave from an exercise? Did she say she's not doing this? She just took a phone call before you guys did something. So I didn't like that. I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't like that. And Lewis said, okay, that's my wife. She took a phone call. It is what it is. That's what she would have said. That's what she told me she was going to do, and I understood that. So did Dr. Francis wanted Lewis to check his wife in front of her and say, babe, you're not part of the process. Babe, you're not participating. That wouldn't look right, Dr. Francis. Now I'm understanding that we're here. Our attention should be on here. But if there was something else that could not be avoided, it could have been an emergency. She had to take the phone call. All right, so I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. So after that, excuse me, um within less than 5 minutes, Dr. Francis sees that Lewis tends to silence himself and not tell Tiffany what she needs to hear, because he knows that if he says what she doesn't want to hear, he will get, red. He'll get, I can't find the words, but basically you're stunting your growth to prevent your wife from getting what she doesn't want to hear. You're not checking your wife. You're not telling her what she needs to do. You're not telling her what she needs to stop. And it's stunting your growth for not expressing yourself the way you need to express yourself. So she said she was waiting for everybody, but that's her problem. As Dr. Francis said, you should not be here for the people. You should be here for you and your husband. So he's really giving it to him, and it's like he's chastising children. Like he has a tone that he's yelling, but he's not yelling. You know what I'm saying? And disclosing that I should take a 30-minute phone call because I couldn't remove it from my schedule. He said, if you schedule your way, you schedule your work, then marriage is not your priority. You do not sleep with work. You do not get dressed with work. Like, there are things you do in a marriage that you cannot do in work, okay? I find it problematic that Kimmy, Tisha, Maurice, and Marceau are laughing at them. Because, don't get it twisted, y'all are about to be checked too. A lot of back and forth. Tiffany is expressing that we're here, we're present, and Kimmy has to chime in to check Tiffany that there was a disagreement. You know what I'm saying? That you guys were disagreeing about something. Yes, lack of sex. She is aware that she needs to make time for sex. But I am 100% in my marriage and 100% at work. Kimmy said you can't be 100% all the time. You just can't. There's no sense. And I feel like Tiffany, Kimmy feels like that they're being resistant to not hearing everything. They're, resisting the idea of hearing how they're coming off and how they maybe need to change it. I'm like, Kimmy, you got the same problem with Maurice. You do not want to have sex 2 times a day, and he doesn't want to hear you. He doesn't want to talk to you, doesn't want to hear your point. So I feel like you need to focus on what Maurice is doing and not worry about what Tiffany isn't doing. Focus on your marriage, because while Dr. Francis is telling Tiffany, don't wait for other people, focus on your marriage. Kimmy, focus on yours, please. She feels though that they're not being as transparent as they were saying before, and how they have so much to say about other people. And I'm like, you guys do the same thing. All of y'all do the same thing. Y'all can miss me. So basically, you're only as successful as your last challenge. Every minute of every day is a challenge of your marriage. So their first task is to walk around for 15 minutes with a string tied around their ankle. And it showed the struggles of who wants to be the leader and having 2 different personalities. Tisha and Marceau did great. They were in sync because they were together for 16 years. They know how the other person walked. Kimmy and Maurice are going back and forth. They're not in sync. She is feeling like he's not listening to her because he's not. Then halfway through the exercise, we see Tiffany and Lewis struggling. Tiffany doesn't want to do it. She's asking Lewis to pick her up. Lewis does. And Dr. Francis was like, I'm seeing how Tiffany and Lewis interact. And Lewis automatically caves in to what Tiffany wants because he doesn't want to hear her mouth later. But he doesn't express what he doesn't want to do because he automatically just does it. So he's not being vocal about what he wants, what he doesn't want to do. He's being, passive. So now he's drilling them again about how this string represents the bond of marriage. That is not meant to be broken. The opposite parts are your independent parts. But you got to make certain that your independent parts doesn't take over marriage. Because while you guys have separate interests, you guys don't have separate lives. You guys cannot say it's not about you anymore, it's about this. No, it's about each other. Okay? A small scene with Stormy and Melody. Hey, Stormy. Melody's going over there. Stormy has her sound bowls. She has a Zen room where she pretty much handles her every day with meetings, going back and forth, putting out fires. It gives her a space of calmness, a space of serenity, and exuding a lot of energy. Stormy couldn't make it. Her mom was there, her manager, and Martell got, surprising with the children. I did not know he was coming. The energy was interesting. It looked like Martell wanted to have a conversation with Melody, but it didn't happen. So he just stayed in his lane and was chill because they have not been in the same place for a very long time. When it comes down to her mother, she's pretty much on the sidelines of don't hurt my baby, okay? If you do things to hurt my baby, I'm not checking for you, okay? And she has not spoken to his mother since 2021. And she doesn't have the same relationship as she did before because the divorce hurt everybody. It's a casualty of war. But the comments that they made about her mother wasn't true. And remember, Miss Marlene did make Mel feel like she didn't do nothing at all when Martell was working. She definitely made her feel some type of way. And how when he was doing all this and that, Mel was driving him to the ground and doing all this and that third. And it's like, oh, really? So you co-sign on your son's behavior to treat me like shit when I wasn't doing nothing. But look at me now. How you said that I didn't do nothing, I was being lazy. Me being lazy is why I'm still working with and I'm working. She got businesses. She got her 7th Avenue, her music, her book. So for someone that you look down upon that she wasn't helping your son out, think twice, huh? So after that, definitely didn't, I already said that, didn't made it seem as if Melly wasn't doing nothing at all. Look down upon that. So basically, she said, I will cut off if I need to. If I don't wish something bad on you, but if I'm good on you, I'm good on you. Now, she does want to become cordial with Miss Marlene, but she will love him from a distance because at the same point in time, that is his mother, not mine. And she will be on her son's side and not understand and call out her son's behavior while still giving him that same love, but she's not doing that. She's coddling Martell. She's giving a pass to what Martell did. And since she's not going to even open up her eyes to tell her son that he fucked up, she ain't got no time for Miss Marlene. I'm not mad at that at all. So the retreat. The couples are getting ready for dinner. They discussed what happened. Marceau didn't think that it would have been this depth of a couples retreat with receiving couples counseling because Tisha didn't tell him nothing. All she said was it's a couples retreat. That was it. Marie talks about how the challenge was difficult because when he was trying to help Kimmy balance and she was saying, you're holding me too tight, he let go. And that's the problem that she's having with him. Like if I'm telling you you're doing something, you go the opposite and do way more than you're supposed to. When I'm telling you you're holding me too tight, that don't mean let go. That means loosen up a bit. Like he's not taking into consideration of there's other ways of still trying to help me or still trying to hold me in a different way. Just look for other ways of doing it. And I don't think that Maurice does. Maurice does the instant. Like he reacts. He doesn't think. The fact she said you're holding me too tight. Okay, I'm gonna let go. No, not let go. I mean, just loosen up the way you're holding me a little bit. Like there's no middle where he tries to figure it out. He just does the opposite. So at dinner, Dr. Francis asked how much is anybody willing to talk about the task, and how much are you willing to talk about things. So Tisha wants to know the difference of being someone who gives because she's in different stages. She's a mother of young children. She wants to split her time between being a mother, a wife, and herself. And noticing that when you are a mother to older children, you tend to have more time to yourself and tend to have more time for your spouse. And seeing how it can be easier when you don't have small children, you can do things more, you can handle things more without having to worry about what the kids need. And if you are teaching your kids to become independent and you're developing empty nest syndrome, then that means that your kids are automatically, feeling like they're gone, even though they haven't left yet. And that's what Lewis and Tiffany are in. They got 2 boys, 15 and 16. In a few years, they're going to be outside the house, and they're doing their own thing. Tiffany wants to be a part of that. She loves being a mom, and she wants to have a baby, but She does not want to be the only one who wants that. She wants Lewis to have that as well. But when they both got married, they was like, we're good. We just got one child. We're okay, right? But then later they teased around the idea of having one child together. And since he's a foster child, she doesn't have much of a history of where she came from. And that plays a factor. She's been in the foster care system since she was born. And Dr. Francis feels like her attachment to having another baby is due to the fact she dealt with a lot of losses. And when she was born, that's a loss, being in a foster care system. When she was adopted, her adopted parents were drug addicts for a lot of years. She got married, she got divorced. She's dealt with 3 losses. Lewis comes in and says he dealt with the same thing, but the way that Lewis expresses how he's lost people, he's been divorced, it's like he doesn't attach his feelings. He detaches his feelings from it. And Lewis is acting like, well, it happens. That's life. Okay, well, that's life to you, but at the same point in time, what did you feel when that happened? And Tiffany feels though she's dealt with so many losses, a baby will fill that void because she doesn't want to be alone. And a baby will never leave her. Now, I don't know, she's never placed Lewis as someone who would leave her, but since she did deal with divorcing, she did deal with having drug addict parents, she did deal with not having her mother. So having someone of her own will give her a sense of having someone there for her. And he calls it trauma. She never thought of them as losses. And it's her having a fear of being alone, a fear of abandonment. And she doesn't like being alone. She doesn't like being by herself. So being around a group of people makes her happy. And seeing how the way she's acting is impacting her marriage. So I take it that Tiffany is receiving what Dr. Francis is saying, because she was crying. Marceau wanted to understand how we're talking about giving time for one another, but you want to bring a newborn. She says she functions in chaos and always able to work around it, but you want to bring a baby in a life that you're not really stabilized in, for real, for real. You got so much going on. You think a baby could fit into that? And talking to Lewis, how would that make you feel of what's going to come? Because when you are getting married and having children, sometimes having children could lead to not having a lot of sex. He knows that. And that's what happens with children. Dr. Francis want to know, how many philosophy books have you read, Lewis? He said a lot. I can tell, because the way that Lewis gives a philosophical reason, a philosophical explanation, that's is someone using a philosophical way of not explaining their feelings. So he said he is the teacher in this marriage, and Tiffany was like, what is he teaching me? I mean, we teach each other, but what is he teaching me? You gotta have something to say. So Dr. Francis calls out Lewis about giving philosophical questions, philosophical answers, as a way where he doesn't be vulnerable and experience the pain of what he's feeling. And that's exactly what he does. I never noticed it until now. I see what other people are saying, how Lewis comes from a place where he's a know-it-all and that he comes down on what other people is feeling because he has all of it in his mind. But I'm not knocking. That's how Lewis has obtained away from protecting his feelings. Marceau was just an asshole who doesn't want to listen to nobody. Kimmy has to chime in again because she wants to understand. Do you not hear what he's saying? Like, he's saying in the mere few hours that he met you guys, he's seeing something different than what you guys are showing us. And you guys can give advice, but you guys can't retain it. In his experience, in his expertise, he's seeing how you guys are coming off. And you guys are not being receptive. Again, Lewis is the main one talking about how he's open. He'll talk about things. Kimmy just cannot understand it because they had a lot to say about everybody, but they're not being receptive. But I feel like, Kimmy, be quiet, because you guys are not innocent. All of y'all have issues that you guys are not open to talk about, and you're not opening to receiving how it's making you look as well. So basically, they want to know, where is the disconnect that you see? Where do you see us not representing our union? And he says, I think that the way you guys move and the way you guys talk is what you guys think you're doing. So Lewis took us, if you think our marriage is fake. And that's where it ends. Now, I didn't like it, that Marcel was laughing and smiling as Tiffany and Lewis were being read about what they are showcasing. But I feel like, don't laugh too hard, Marcel. You guys are next. Kimmy, we just dealt with Maurice saying that women need to have sex with their husbands 2 times a day. You said no, you don't like it. And he said, for what? What's the problem? Maurice not listening to you. I feel like you're going to have another excuse as to why Maurice says what he says, but you want to use that towards Tiffany and Lewis, how they're not being receptive. I think Tiffany is being receptive because she's in the confessional hearing that her trauma, all her losses, is the reason why she has a fear of abandonment, is the reason why she has a fear of being alone. We're going to break down Lewis, no doubt. I've seen him cry in the trailer. He's going to cry. He's going to break down some things, but it's not going to be as hard as getting Marceau to admit how he comes off, getting Maurice to admit how he comes off, because these two are the hardest knuckleheads you've ever seen. They don't listen to shit. I think Lewis is a different type of man who will listen to how he comes off. He will break down. Marceau and Maurice, no. They are set in their ways of thinking they know everything more than what they don't know. So Kimmy, you can miss me with thinking that you have a leg to stand on to come at Tiffany and Lewis, please, because you don't. I'm sorry, Kimmy. I like you, but I don't like you. I like you, but I don't like you in this moment. But y'all, that was pretty much it. It wasn't really much this episode of the season. We'll pick up. But y'all, that's all I have. Please stay tuned for the next video, and I'm going to see you guys later. Bye.